Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is a stream of the Week 2 Sunday games of the 2022 Casuals Only Tournament. Once again, I am joined by Minnesota's finest, Mr. Walter Wight. How are you doing?
Aw, I'm well, thank you.
I mean, basically, you and Kirby Puckett, those are the only people I know from Minnesota. And
Right,
Kirby Puckett died a while ago, so it's pretty much just you. So,
that's true. The two claims to fame,
yep.
Kirby Puckett and
And
Myth to Soulblighter's Walter Wight.
exactly. All right. So there was a warm up game, which, as you can see, was Dorfball. And I figured I might as well just throw this in there. I think it's about a 4 minute game. And are you ready to get into this?
Yeah, let's see how people do.
Oh, wait. Timeout. Sorry. I forgot to do screen share.
That would be important.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one who's just going blind here. I mean, like flying blind here. Let me see.
Just assumed you were gonna hit it at the moment. There we go.
Okay, so everything good now?
Yeah, good to go.
Okay, great. Here we go. All right. So as we can see, we have Team Spy. Oh, sorry. And we have Team Spy with Father Xmas Overdose and Wings versus the Clowns, Xenophone, Glassjaw Legacy Typhoon, and Geralt Toad. So yeah, this is really just a warm-up game, not meant to be taken seriously. And I think I could pretty much just get the whole game from this camera angle.
Seems
Yeah,
like a good shot.
yeah. I think I'm just gonna. I mean, it could be a little straighter, I guess, but whatever. It seems like Team Xenophone is a little bit slow
Flag capture.
to trot, not really moving around too much. I would say that Spy, Father Xmas, and myself have a fair bit of experience playing Dorfball. I'm not sure about the other team. I'm sure Geralt has no doubt played his fair share, but as far as the three
Flag
other team
contested.
members, not really sure.
I will say that just based on experience, this game seems a bit stacked on one team's side, which would be Spy's team.
That is a nice observation, but at the same
Flag
time,
contested.
as you just saw, there are enough random explosions. There are enough random
contested.
satchel charges and bombs going off, lightning going off, that anything can happen. So just because I think Spy, Father Xmas, and Overdose have a little more experience playing Dorfball, it doesn't mean that it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to win. However, we do see that Geralt Toad has already lost both of his dwarves.
No doubt, due to a brilliant voice chat strategy by Spy,
Yes, and
have all of you attack Dural.
there we see Overdose face shotting the healer of the other team. So once the healer is down, it's really
Flag
going to be hard
contested.
for Team Clowns to come back because they cannot heal their dwarves. One thing to note is that there are three types of non-healer dwarves. There are the normal dwarves, the fast dwarves, and the tough dwarves. And for a map like this, I don't see much of an advantage for the fast dwarves, especially a last man on the hill type game. The tough dwarves are really the ones that you want to stack, just because they can absorb so much punishment. I think their range is a little bit farther, and you need that for the end game. but I'm not
5
sure if we're going to even get to the end game, as Team Clowns really only has 3 dwarves left, while Team
And no
Hungry
healers.
Hippos has 7 with the healer.
What do you think of these team names?
I mean, Hungry Hippos, for some reason, I've known Spy for a couple of years now, and he has some kind of obsession with the hippopotamus.
Team
And
eliminated.
so,
Oh, and
what?
there they go.
Yep, that's the end of the game there. We see Overdose with a nice, leading the way with damage.
3
And
kills.
3 kills, yes. I think he might have also killed one of his own dwarves, or a teammate's dwarves. But that's just minor collateral damage. To go back to your original question, Spy likes hippopotamuses, or hippos, whatever you want to call them. And, maybe he's hungry. As for Xenophone, I mean, he is one of the biggest clowns I know. That's for sure. I don't know about, Glassjaw. He's, I think he might be tied for, as of today, I hate to give out spoilers, but I think he's tied for second in the tournament, so I don't think he's a clown. I don't know about those other 2 guys, though. So, yeah, who knows? But
It'll be great to see how it all plays out today.
yeah, we will definitely see how week 2 shakes out for these players. So yeah, that was once again a game of no consequence. It was just a warm up. I had to get a game of Dorfball in there just for advertising purposes. I think it's a pretty interesting plugin. It's way better than Fetchball, and people need to play more.
Now,
Dorf.
why shouldn't people play fetchball?
I mean, as an American, it's just too close to soccer, and soccer I think is one of the most disgusting sports. It's a game, you know, that supposedly is the most famous, most popular sport in the world. But
Yeah, I don't know about that.
if you look at all of the revenues that that sport brings in, it really sort of pales in comparison to something like the Super Bowl, which there's only 300 million Americans. Suddenly, they're carrying the weight of you know pretty much the entire world in terms of which sport brings in more money. So that's all I have to say about that.
Are there any players that would even like fetchball?
I can think of 3. They would be Father Xmas, who probably likes fetchball the most, but also Paris and Adrenaline. Adrenaline, I believe, won the Father Xmas hosted fetchball tournament from maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And Paris, he might have played Adrenaline in the finals, or the semifinals, something like that. I know when I hosted my Overdose Bets tournament, Paris pretty much beat Father Xmas every single time they played fetchball. I would also mention that they were pretty much the only 2 people who volunteered to play fetchball. So that whole tournament really revolved around the same 2 players, just playing repeatedly almost every week. And so that just kind of shows you the popularity of that game. I would consider the fetchball community to be 3 people, just Father Xmas, Adrenaline, and Paris. And that is a club that I happily can distance myself from. Anyway, so to get back on point here, we're going to start with game 1 of the Sunday week 2 games. Capture the flag, Gimble in the Wabe. There's no real surprise who actually chose this map. However, oh, you are here. Okay, yeah. So I thought this was the week that you were late, but yeah. So this week, I think, or this day, Spy is actually hosting the games, or hosting some of the games. Then you might take over a little later, something like that. But
Spoiler.
yeah, this is definitely your choice. And honestly, I don't remember this game. This is, I think, the second time this game has been chosen. The first one was that game that Rat King was in, game one. I think it was, or sorry, week one, Saturday, I want to say. So yeah, this is a popular choice, and it's probably not the last time we're going to play this during the Casuals Only Reg tournament.
As long as Walter Wight's in the tournament.
Yes. So we do have 3 teams. We have Spy and Glassjaw teaming, Walter Wight and Overdose. Oh, we have 4 teams actually. Legacy Typhoon and Meerkat, and Xenophone and Giral. Wings and Father Xmas, unfortunately, are playing solo. So, I mean, this is going to be, I think, an auto cam type game because there's going to be 3 major battles going on. So I'll just let the auto camera do its thing. We see Wings is getting double teamed by Overdose and Walter Wight. We'll see how he does. It looks like Overdose is going to start shooting some arrows, and Walter Wight's going to put some pressure with his Stygian Knights. Meanwhile, we have Team Xenophone going after Legacy Typhoon and Meerkat. I believe they're a bit slow to the yeah, they're at this point pretty much surrounded. However, you know, if those Legacy Typhoon dwarves get to the front line, they could actually do some damage.
Contested.
Meanwhile,
Contested.
on the other side, we have Spy and
Ooh,
Father Xmas going at it.
Great shot on
Yeah.
Father Xmas.
Yeah, exactly. And we see there's actually a pus dud near, I think, Spy's army. And we'll see if they pick it up.
And it looked like Xenophone's team had rushed it a little bit too fast and got in trouble with those dwarves, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell what's going on because the camera's changing too quickly, but yeah, I mean, we see that Father Xmas seems to be holding his own, and Legacy Typhoon seems to be holding his own, as is Wings. So the 2 solo players, Wings and Father Xmas, are not in dire straits as of now. These Father Xmas archers seem to be holding Spy and Glassjaw at bay, and I think I did see that Xenophone dwarf go down, which is really going to prevent them from mounting any kind of offense. So at this point, I think Legacy Typhoon's probably going to take out Xenophone. There is kind of a stalemate between Wings and Walter Wight's team, and Spy and Father Xmas are still going at it. I think that's kind of slowed down, but yeah, that's what I see so far.
Yeah, it seems like Walter White and Overdose's team is just kind of slowly taking their time here, just kind of trying to do little bits of damage to Wings and get him to use all of his heals and slowly pick off of his dwarfs so that they can move in. And then meanwhile, Spy's team is doing a great job taking that hill and kind of really backing Father Xmas up into kind of the corner of his flag.
Yeah, but the thing is, the dwarves can't really exert any pressure on those bowmen because they're just kind of too far away. And I don't think Team Hungry Hippos has enough melee presence to actually push Father Xmas off that flag. So I think they might be shooting up the wrong tree
5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, until those archers are taken care of, I don't know how effective Spy's army is going to be. The story is quite similar with Team Walter Wight and Wings as well. We see that Team Walter Wight is actually a bit down in percentages, even though it's still a fairly even fight. But I think Wings really only just lost his white that he healed. I don't know if any of his soldiers have actually been killed. Meanwhile, we do see a rush from Spy. A very unfortunate dud from Father Xmas. But I do think that Father Xmas has the melee advantage. So again, Spy might be attacking from a disadvantageous position. Beautiful Dwarven bottle from Wings to kill 2 of Walter Wight's Stygian Knights. Yeah, it looks like...
Overdose does a good job of bringing up the pressure with his bows. And now Wings is starting to feel the pressure a bit from Team Green.
Wow, really, I don't know how Father Xmas lost that melee fight. I would have... I thought he held all the cards there, but I guess something happened. I don't know, or perhaps Spy is a melee genius. Who knows? But here this is the last of the sort of original fights between Walter Wight and Wings, and I think, you know, the fact that it's the 2-on-1 match is starting to take its toll, even though he is able to get a good bottle off to kill, again, more of Walter Wight's melee units.
Walter Wight will take that, knowing that he ended up killing the last dwarf. So now it's pretty much cleanup duty for everyone else.
Yeah, he did get in a nice 2 bottle throws, including that one that we just saw. And yeah, I mean, one thing is that there's a Dorf on the flag, which might have been better utilized on the front lines. Who knows? But it looks like
flag lost.
Not wise to bring up the second dwarf for the first fight. Traditional.
Looks like that's gonna do it for Mr. Wings, who is retreating back to his flag. But to his credit, I think Wings did a fantastic job holding his own. You know, I think a lot of the reason why Team Walter Wight really came out victorious was because it was a 2-on-1 fight. He absolutely held his own, and he has nothing to be ashamed of for that performance. And yeah, it's really just
flag contested.
At this point a tagging scenario, because we have about a minute and a half left. We'll see what happens with Walter Wight, who has 61%, pretty much, you know, slightly less than double than the next highest person, which would be Team Spy.
This is where the time really kind of comes in, as you can see. So, well,
that's a bad
Walter Wight and Overdose have the time, or have the percentage. They don't maybe have the time to take a full-blown first place.
Yeah, and it's hard to, you know, it's hard to separate the bowmen, because you don't really want to just send one bowman across the map to tag a flag, because they're so slow and they're actually kind of weak. One thing that Overdose could have done was to have not killed that warrior, to make sure that the game went to overtime, which might have given Walter Wight a little more time to tag some flags or do something like that. But at the same time, I think
Walter had sent some units around, so he ends up being able to grab that south flag, which is ends up looking like this game's going to be a tie.
Flag contested.
Well, can those Thrall win?
Oh, that's a bad throw by Overdose. I think he could have blown up everybody.
Game over.
Yep, and that's going to do it. Yeah,
Two
so
teams tie for first place there.
according to the perm, yes, it was a tie. Even though I think Team Spy actually, to their credit, I think they outplayed us a bit because, you know, we had to sort of escape to get a tie. They sort of lost the game, so to speak. You know, the burden of victory was sort of on us. Like, we had to step up to tie, whereas things had to go wrong for them to tie because they were in the lead, if that makes any sense.
A little bit, and I think that they're just given the time on that map. At the best we could have hoped for was 4 flags, and I think Spy's team did a good job holding both fronts, both you and my front, from gathering the 4th flag on either side. So.
Yeah, no, you know, again, a lot of it had to do with the fact that Wings was able to hold his own for so long. You know, the fight between Spy and Father Xmas's team, or Spy's team and Father Xmas, and then Xenophone and Legacy Typhoon. I mean, if you recall, those fights ended quite abruptly, I would say, within the first, you know, 3 or 4 minutes, whereas our fight with Wings really culminated within the last, you know, 2 minutes of the game. So that really didn't allow us the opportunity to start sending out some units to tag flags and that kind of thing. So you could also argue that this game was a conspiracy between the two Canadians, Wings and Spy, just to screw us over. That's the story that I want to
definitely
start
argue
pushing. Yeah.
Yep. Until we hear any rebuttal, I think that that's pretty much the narrative.
Exactly. All right, now let's jump into game number 2. I think we gave the choice to Spy, who chose King of the Hill on Killing Grounds. Now this is a classic type game. Unfortunately, we have one player who's by himself. The return, and actually this was one thing that really made my weekend. The return of the legendary Scratch. Back in action after what seems like maybe a year and a half, something like that. You know, good to see that guy. He's always a fun person to play with. Good attitude,
Game
you know.
on.
And he also happens to be quite the World War II player. If you recall, he and Karma destroyed a combination of me, Hobbs, and I believe it was John God in the original World War II tournament. And he has...
Well, and I think that as the conspiracy goes, he is Woody Harrelson. And as we know, Woody Harrelson loves guns, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Flag captured.
This is King of the Hill, so I think I'm gonna park the camera here. We see that...
Ooh, nice shot by Spy.
Spy almost destroying all of Overdose's Here on Guard heroes. You know, it's kind of a filthy tactic to...
Oh, that's what you do all the time. You did it the last thing we commented on. You did that to me.
Yeah, but, you know, it's one thing to do it to other people, but to have it done to you, you know what I mean? It's not as good. So, but yeah, let me just quickly run through the teams. We have Team Hungry Hippos, Spy and Xenophone, Pirates in Sexy Suits, Legacy Typhoon. Oh, here we go. We get two of we get 2 of Spy's Here on Guard heroes.
Right
Almost
back
all 3
at
of them.
him.
Spy on voice chat was a bit frustrated that his pus bomb didn't kill any of my Here on Guards, and then mine actually killed 2 out of 3 of his. The difference was that there was a pus dud beneath Spy's Here on Guard heroes, which added the the necessary damage to kill 2 out of 3 of the Heron Guard heroes. But let me just quickly go through the teams again. Yeah, so we have Meerkat and Wings, Glassjaw and Overdose, Walter Wight and Drawl, and of course Scratch is playing by himself. So, yeah, one thing to note is that there are really only 4 players on the flag right now. It's you, Walter Wight, Spy, Legacy Typhoon, and Overdose is kind of going in and out, I guess. So, in other words, Scratch is not really making much of an effort to accrue time. And
looks like Gyre has decided to engage him up north, and so Scratch is kind of having to focus on Gyre, leaving Walter Wight to try to gather time at the flag. But
Flag captured.
yeah, exactly.
one of the benefits of having a teammate is usually they can protect you to make sure you get some time on the flag. But
yeah, one thing to note is that Scratch is actually the white colored
that's right.
soldiers, and he is attacking Team Yellow, which is Overdose and Glassjaw. He was able to kill, I think, a couple of archers. However, these dwarves, one beautiful
Those
thing about
Meerkat
the dwarves is that they are pretty good at killing the Heron Guard heroes. They're really, 2 Dwarven bottles will kill a Heron Guard hero, and because they are so powerful, you need to keep your dwarves alive on killing grounds.
Contested.
We are seeing a great job by Legacy Typhoon in terms of stacking time. They only have 13%, but they are in the lead. However, quick on their heels is Team Glassjaw and Team Spy, as well as Team Meerkat, who all have units close to the flag. Again, Scratch with 4 seconds. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get enough time. However, he is making a push for the flag, and he might have the most units out of everybody at this point.
Flag contested. Flag
rough dud there, thrown by Walter Wight.
contested.
Yeah, and we see the green team, the Soulblighters, grabbing some more time, and I think Scratch and
Flag
the Soulblighters, they need to start getting some time, as the top 4 teams are relatively close to each other, but you guys are a bit behind the curve, I think. That's an unfortunate bouncy puss, but a very nice chain reaction to kill Scratch's dwarves. Scratch also just gets whited, and so now he is all of a sudden down to his 3 Heron Guard heroes. One thing to note, Walter Wight telling Gyre to get off the sats. You would expect to not have to tell a player with as much experience as Gyre to not stand near satchel charges, but sometimes even the most veteran players need a gentle reminder that satchel charges are dangerous.
Especially around a lot of bowmen that could each have flame arrows, and a pretty thirsty dwarf, it looks like, from Xenophone.
Yeah, for some reason, Team Spy and Team Xenophone are still alive. You would expect them to have died quite a while ago, but they're actually, they can't win this game, but they are playing for second. And of course, according to the rules, they will not lose a life if they are able to get second place.
30 seconds.
Which I think is unique to this tourney, at least from many other tourneys that have existed over the last decade or so. Myth, of course, used to exist with a ranking system, and so placement and when you gathered flags used to matter more. But certain players, I think, namely myself, have gotten kind of rusty about just making sure you get those tags in and make sure that you're at least placing, um, you know, second if you can't get first.
Yeah, exactly. So, we were able to see Glassjaw and Overdose stacking some time at the end. Overdose was able to get 110 damage. I think a lot of it was just hacking at one of those healing Heron Guard heroes. That's just sort of free damage. And I'm pretty sure Xenophone, he got a lot of damage from his archers who were shooting the Heron Guard heroes. And so we saw a lot of that going on. However, Legacy Typhoon and Father Xmas able to steal the victory, or actually I shouldn't say steal because they were pretty much leading the game the whole way. Their Heron Guard heroes were able to get so much time. I don't recall seeing their dwarves, their archers, thrall, whatever they had. I don't recall them doing anything. So it really must have been sort of a great effort from the Heron Guard heroes. So good job whoever was controlling that. Again, Scratch playing by himself. Killing Grounds, King of the Hill is a really tough map to play by yourself when everyone else has a teammate. So he was able to get a respectable 80 damage, but I think it was tough for him to get going. He started off a bit passive. I think he was expecting some of the teams to kill themselves a bit early on so he could move in a bit later. But unfortunately, once he did move in, he was annihilated just like everybody else. So, yeah, that was King of the Hill on Killing Grounds. And that was game 2 of the week 2 Sunday games.
Now either Legacy or Father Xmas will get the pick, and let's see what map they ended up choosing.
Yes, I believe Legacy had the choice, but he deferred it to Father Xmas, and he chose King of the Hill on Dead Man's Chest. And this is a very classic game type as well. So let's get into it.
One can be a very tough map because there's really only 3 entryways up to the flag, and so with 6 teams, you really have to fight for your beach.
Yes, that is definitely true. And one of the things I like about this map though is that there isn't really a set in stone trade. I would say that for Killing Grounds, the 6 archers, the 4 dwarves, the 3 Heron Guard hero, like that, there's pretty much just one trade for Killing Grounds. But for Dead Man's Chest, I mean, I think you can approach this game in several different ways, and you could get, some pretty funky unit trades, and you could have
Vastly different on if you go melee heavy or if you go artillery heavy.
Yeah, you can have some fun. But let me quickly just outline the teams. Unfortunately, Spy is playing by himself. Meerkat and Father Xmas are a team. Scratch and Overdose, Glassjaw, Walter Wight, Xenophone, Legacy Typhoon, Giral, and Wings. One thing to note is that our good friend Meerkat appears to have a playable trade. Maybe a couple more whites than necessary, but he was able to hand off a bunch of units to Father Xmas and let him do his thing. So, vastly improved captaining from Meerkat when compared to the week 1 games.
Flag captured.
We'll see if
Flag
he has
contested.
any future 2-team captain or captaining games as a for the 2-team game. Sorry, you know what I'm saying. And then I'm just
In general, from week to week, it's been great seeing his improvement. He's really shown a lot of growth in a short period of time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to keep it here. I'll tell you which teams are which. We see Overdose and Scratch in the bottom left Glassjaw and Walter Wight in the upper left. Xenophone, I think, is in the middle. Father Xmas and Meerkat are in the bottom right. And who is this? Gyre and Wings in the upper right. Xenophone appears to be camping, as is Spy. So that's the sort of layout right now. But we do see
5
Wings
minutes
and
remaining.
Gerald jumping out to an early lead. It doesn't seem to have cost them that much, because they still have... Oh, actually, maybe it did cost them, because they now have 67% of their army. So something must have happened. We see this Dorf fight between Overdose and Glassjaw's team, or Scratch and Glassjaw's team. But like what you said, Walter, maintaining the beach is key, especially for a King of the Hill game. We see Spy finally making his appearance. He is bottled in Father Xmas and Meerkat. I think he can rain some arrows on those warriors and cause some destruction. But instead, he's deciding to shoot at Father Xmas's archers and sort of forgo accruing time. We also see Xenophone and Legacy Typhoon making their moves, taking Gerald and Wings Beach. Again, they only have 11 seconds, but they do have 89%, so if they're going to make their move, they need to do it quickly. Meanwhile, Scratch and Overdose, 47%, but not that much time when compared to the leaders. I think Xenophone and Legacy are having a bit of a hard time establishing a foothold at the beach. They have an army of Thrall that are just kind of standing there. Some archers who are idle. And they don't appear to be making a push for the flag, so I'm not really sure what kind of strategy they're using. But if they want to win this game, they need to start making some moves here. Meanwhile, we see Spy's warriors, or whose warriors are these? Yeah, Spy's warriors. They're all kind of red. I think he might have some trouble because he's playing by himself. I think he just decided to rush somebody. But he's going to get taken apart by either Overdose's Dorf, oh yeah, or these Meerkat, or I guess Father Xmas Dwarves. So yeah, unfortunately, Spy's melee units are all wiped out. In these last 2 minutes on this game type, it's absolutely essential to kill the dwarves, because if you can get a dwarf to the hill with about a minute left, they can do some real damage versus waves of thrall and kind of slow melee crawl type
Flag
units.
contested.
That was a nice puss from Spy. I think he took out 4 archers with a single puss, and then he hacked down another one. So,
Well, it seems to me that Gerald and Wings' team had a very great advantage, because whoever was their beach mate, so to speak, decided to go around, and so they just got a lot of free time on their beach.
I mean, honestly, they didn't even go around. They just got into the water and stood there. Now, I think you were talking about Team Xenophone and Legacy Typhoon. You can see them making a push for the flag now, but I believe it's too little too late. With about 45 seconds left, they only have a minute of time, and if this were a last man on the hill game, they would absolutely be in great position to win the game. But as
30
it's King of the Hill,
remaining.
I don't think they can do much at this point, and they're probably going to get last place.
They might take second to last from Spy, but we'll see. No, it looks like they'll take last.
Yeah, Spy is able to get a couple more seconds with those
Game
goals, and that'll do it. Yeah, so excellent job from Gyre and Wings. They were able to, you know, I think they were able to get the most presence on the flag initially, and they were able to get at least a couple of minutes from that initial group of soldiers. But their archers, their dwarves, etc., were able to maintain that beach position, largely because they didn't really have any competition, and that allowed them to start stacking some time. And you know, Meerkat and Team Father Xmas, a very good effort on their part. You know, they were, I think, quite sandwiched at times between Spy and I think Overdose, and you know, they were able to get second place by a thin margin of 9 seconds ahead of Scratch and Overdose. And then yeah, unfortunately there just wasn't too much competition from Xenophone and Legacy Typhoon. They decided to hang back, and perhaps they employed a last man on the hill strategy rather than a king of the hill strategy, which unfortunately did not get them any, it didn't do them any favors in this game.
Certainly not.
But
But like you said, a very fun map choice, and kind of cool to see how everyone decided to play that out with their teammates and or lack of.
exactly. And in the case of Xenophone's team, maybe that's why his team name is the Clowns, because he's really just, that's just the type
Clowning
of player.
around.
Yeah. Okay, so this next game is, I'm going to say Gyre, because Gyre is actually a word in the English dictionary. I've heard some people say gear, I've heard some people say Gyre, but as far as
I would just say in the Wabi unless you know differently. I was always thinking it was Gimble in the Wabi, but you say Gimble in the Wave, so
yeah,
I'm not sure.
I mean, one thing, there is no pronunciation guide for Myth 2 or Myth 1, but what we do have is a 12-person game. What is this? King of the Hill, and we have Walter Wight and Scratch, Spy Father Xmas,
Game
Wings
on.
Glassjaw, Xenophone Gyre, Meerkat Legacy Typhoon, Overdose, and Ion. So I believe this is Ion's first game in this tournament, so nice to see him. And yeah, again, with these King of the Hill games, I'm just going to kind of focus on the flag. We see, just like with Dead Man's Chest, there are 3 access points. It's important to
Flag
you know,
captured.
fight for control of the
Flag
the
contested.
incline, you know, your incline, so to speak. And yeah, we see Overdose and I think Walter Wight perhaps engaging in a fetch fight
Flag
right off the bat.
contested.
And it looks like we have
contested.
some. I don't really know what's going up here. I think Team Xenophone went all in,
5
and so they don't
minutes.
have any units hanging back, which is going to lead to them probably getting surrounded by Team Meerkat, as well as pretty much everybody else. So maybe
This was.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, if I recall, so we're not seeing as much of the Overdose Walter Wight fight, but that was a pretty brutal way to get up to that hill again for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's 79-71, you know, Overdose's team and Walter Wight, so it was kind of a fair exchange. I think both teams lost their fetch, which puts them at a huge disadvantage. But I really wanted to highlight the fact that Xenophone perhaps
Flag
you know,
captured.
understanding the error of his ways from the last game, decided to go all in on this map, and you know, it
Get to the
resulted in
flag.
him getting to the flag ASAP. Unfortunately for him, though, he is a bit boxed in at this point. You know, we've got Team Legacy Typhoon and Meerkat on this edge. We have Wings and Glassjaw and Spy on this side. And
But
Walter Wight and
Xenophone or
Overdose.
Giral, whoever's using them, is the only fetch alive. Maybe that is about to change.
Yeah, I think you spoke a little bit too soon. These two fetch are going to get run down by probably Wings. Yes, Wings. And now, you know, it's more or less an equal playing field once those fetch are dead. You know, you do have units like Soulless who can attack from a distance and that kind of thing, but once the fetch are dead, I still consider it somewhat of an even playing field. You know, we see Meerkat and Legacy Typhoon actually have the highest percentage. But I think everybody at this point, with the exception of Spy, who has 4%, you know, they all have double digits and they all have a reasonable chance of winning this game. They're all capable, maybe with the exception of Meerkat, who at this point, I don't think they have enough time to win. We see Overdose and Ion losing a melee fight, so they're now down to 8%. I think their 8% might just be two Soulless units. And Walter Wight's team and Wings both have 49%, so it may be, it may turn into a slugfest between these two teams. However, I will note that Team Wings does have healthier mauls, and Mr. Walter White's units look a bit beaten up. Maybe he should opt to heal some of his mauls. Not really sure.
We didn't have any heals left at this point.
I see.
Unfortunately, I think given Scratch is a little bit rusty, he wasn't looking at the chat a lot, and so any communication that ended up going his way we kind of fell on deaf ears.
Okay, well, you know, unlike Father Xmas, who's a product of the French public school system, I'm pretty sure Scratch knows how to read. And, you know, I think maybe it's just, you know, him.
Well, Woody Harrelson
shaking
has
off the
read
rust.
scripts before, so
Yes,
we
exactly.
Yep.
So it's confirmed that Scratch knows how to read. It's just him shaking off the rust. Whereas if Father Xmas doesn't obey a command, it's likely because
1 minute
he
remaining.
doesn't understand how
Flag
to read.
captured. Flag
Which,
contested.
you know, again, maybe due to the French public education system. But despite having severely damaged units, Walter Wight is still sitting there with 49%,
Team
and
eliminated.
he's able to keep accruing time. And you know, I think
30
Wings is
seconds
chasing Walter
remaining.
Wight, trying to get him off the flag, but I think
Scratch finally got the memo to focus on Wings, which, as you had said, Wings had much healthier mauls, and this needed to be handled as soon as possible, but thankfully Wings hadn't noticed that he had an opportunity to just wipe us from the map.
Yeah, and I think Team Tight Sight definitely had that win on a silver platter, but sort of a lack of awareness, perhaps, you know, prevented them from winning. A maul rush absolutely would have killed you guys, but I guess he didn't see it. Either he or Glassjaw didn't see it. However, it is worth noting that Wings was able to get 72 damage, which is the second highest. Xenophone was able to get 73. A lot of that was probably the earlier portions of the game when their entire army was at the flag. Unfortunately, Meerkat's team were unable to break the 1 minute mark. However, again, this is another game where he was the captain, getting some more experience under his belt, and he was able to successfully box in Xenophone by taking this incline here, this access point, and put himself in position to start accruing time, even though he wasn't ultimately able to do so. I think Overdose was chucking some spears at him with his Soulless, and there might have been some melee fights going on. But all told, this was an interesting game, and we will see what Walter Wight picks for game number 5.
Gimble in the Wabi again. No, I don't quite go that way.
It is actually, in perhaps an M. Night Shyamalan style twist, he decided to choose Rock'em Sock'em Gold Dorf Riot. So let's see what's in store for us here. Again, Goal Riot, Dorf Riot. These Riot games are all kind of the same. You just want to grab this flag and hold on for dear life. One difference is that we now have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 12 players. Do you think this is a full 16 start map?
Yeah, I think someone had said that it has at least that many starts. Or they said 15, but that doesn't make sense. So I think it's 16 starts.
Okay. Yeah, since the rules state that a 7 or 8 start map, the top 3 are safe. Since this is a 12 start map, I decided to make the top 4 safe, just to reward, an extra player, because there's so many different starting positions, so many different players. I think I would have even been justified saying the top 5 would be safe, but at the same time, I don't want this tournament to drag on for too long, and I wasn't planning on getting 5th place, so yeah. But again, with these hill games, I think I'm just gonna, well, actually, maybe I should auto camera. I remember the last couple of times there's been some good action not near the hill.
It's cool actually seeing it from this angle, which is so much wider than what you can get in game. Seeing those cleavers fly around from huge trajectories is pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see a flying cleaver finish off a Dorf, but I don't think we saw it because it was at the start of the game. But sometimes those cleavers can kill people, or they can stone a trow, or they can change the game in other interesting ways.
Captured.
You see right off the bat, Mr. Gerald Toad and Meerkat have made their an early exit. Father Xmas and Overdose both have 20%, which is 1 Dorf. So, speaking of which, Father Xmas is now eliminated. So there's been a lot of action so far. It's easy to see who the campers are and who the more aggressive players are by looking at these percentages.
To be fair, why Xmas had 20% was I brought him down that far. But the unfortunate problem is I don't think I am aware, and I think I don't end up stealing a tag. I think I just end up resting on my laurels, thinking that I've got a good position, and then I think that I don't finish in the top 3. But we'll see.
Well, to be fair, though, killing Father Xmas is a victory in and of itself. So, I could understand how you might have gotten a bit distracted.
Well, it's just fun to kill him, I suppose, is what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not necessarily difficult. It's just fun.
Yeah, we see some big explosions, I think, between Spy and Not sure who that was. Ion, maybe? Yeah, and at this point, nobody has all 5 dwarves. Or, it's pure survival mode. We see Overdose and Spy having sort of an unwritten alliance, as they are not bombing each other. And Spy is not actually killing Legacy Typhoon either.
He has an unspoken alliance with everyone. He's Canadian.
Yes.
1 minute remaining.
One thing to
I love
note,
you, Spy. If you're listening.
one thing to note, however, is that all eyes are on Father Xmas because he is the leader in the tournament. Even though he is eliminated, you gotta think about who
He
has.
still, I think, ends up getting a point maybe here.
Flag.
He's in position to,
Flag
but now we have
Oh, not me.
Ion with a late tag,
30 seconds.
and he is actually in a very good position to win. However, Wings might have other plans because he does have 2 dwarves, and he is able to get Ion. And I don't know if I don't know if anyone else is gonna be able to challenge Wings for this flag.
I think I ended up being a little too slow on that last minute to get up there.
Player eliminated.
Yeah, I think Wings is able to take it. Yeah, so good job by him. Ion, 86 damage. Well done by him. He was able to get some dwarves on the hill right as the game was winding down, which means that it's pretty much open season on all of those dwarves making a mad dash for the flag. And so, again, look at that, 15 kills. Very well done by him. As you can see.
Ion just absolutely crushing it.
Yeah. And as you can see, most of the players didn't even make it to the flag. They were unable to capture the middle flag at any point in the game, and only 5 of us were able to do it. And then, interesting game. Interesting choice.
Well, thank you.
I would have assumed you would have gone with Gimble. But
I'm not going to run the same map twice.
in the same day. I know you've chosen that thing twice in this tournament, though.
If I get 24 hours, it's like it's a reset. So
okay. Well, yeah. Why don't we